Hello, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going over the World Cup roster that supposedly has been leaked. It was first leaked, from what I remember, from The Guardian. And well, a lot of other news stations, Yahoo Sports, and a couple of others have also confirmed that this is supposedly the leaked roster. And so the moment of truth has come, and we won't have to wait until tomorrow in New York City to wait for the announcement on Fox, because supposedly the roster has been leaked. And today I'm giving my opinions about what I think about this roster. Is it good? Is it bad? With the injuries, that supposedly are still going to affect the team and some of the players, what do I think about this World Cup roster? So let's get on with the video. But before we continue, I'd like to tell you guys to like and subscribe, because it is very important that you guys like and subscribe so you guys can never miss another video. Also, do not to forget to follow me on X and on TikTok so you guys can see more content from me. So, let's get on with this video. Let's talk about this first. I'm going to start off with what I think about the roster being leaked. If I'm Posh, low-key, you gotta tighten up that inner circle a bit, because if something that's serious, because I bet it's something serious, especially for a lot of the sponsorships, and especially Fox, who's going to be doing this live stream tomorrow, big live stream in New York City with some guests that are supposedly going to be here. Like, this is probably a big deal, and well, if you're Poch, and especially the USSFF, you have to tighten up that inner circle, because if something like that gets leaked a couple days in advance, I think it was leaked on Saturday or Sunday, if something like that gets leaked, like, something more serious can be leaked, like a supposed lineup. So if you're Poch, you gotta tighten up that inner circle. Let's go with the keepers. So for me, there's no controversy here. For me, I understand that this is probably the worst keeper generation in the last 20 or 30 years in the modern era, but still, I think many of us wanted these three keepers and have no problem with them being at the World Cup. I think the starter should be Matt Freese. Between him and Turner, I've been more convinced from what I've seen with Matt Freese as of late. He gives me more confidence. He seems to be more confident between the six for the national team. I understand Turner has been pretty freaking good with New England, but still, I think with the national team, Matt Freese has just looked better and seemed more confident. And the back line seems more confident with him in goal, so I think the starter should be Matt Freese. And if he does a decent job against Germany and Senegal and does what he's supposed to do, make some good saves, just clear the ball, not try to risk the ball too much, I think he should be the starter. Chris Brady is the third keeper. I understand it. I think for the next cycle, he's probably going to be the starter. Depends on how Darren Free and Dale coaching develop, but I think these three keepers are it. I understand that they're not the best, but they're the three best available keepers, and I understand these decisions from Poch. Let's go with the center backs, and after keepers, I think that center back was probably the weakest position. If it wasn't for Chris Richards, I think this will probably be the weakest position, but with Chris Richards, at least it gives me a little bit more confidence. Richards had a pretty good season in the Prem with Crystal Palace, and he's right now in the Conference League final with Crystal Palace. It seems like he's not going to play. He has like I think they're sprained ligaments in his ankle. I don't think they're torn, because that takes like several months to recover, and supposedly the manager was thinking of even playing him in the final, but still, I think Chris Richards had a pretty good season with Crystal Palace, and he is our best center back going into the World Cup. And the other options, Austin Trusty, I think he should be the starter as the left center back. From what I've seen as of late, I'm more confident in Austin Trusty. He's just more athletic right now. Tim Ream is basically a fossil, and he's not that bad with the ball. So Austin Trusty, I think he should be the starter. Tim Ream offers you a little bit with the ball, but as a defender, the guy is a disaster at this point. He's not even been good as a defender in MLS with Charlotte. So against opponents like what I saw against Belgium, he was a disaster in that game. I think Austin Trusty should be the starter, but still have no problem with Tim Ream. Our center backs are just like not in at this moment, so Tim Ream, I can understand it. Mark McKenzie, I can also understand he's probably going to be the starter or one of the first center backs off the bench if something happens to one of the starters. Mark McKenzie had a pretty decent season with the Loose, and he gives me a little bit of confidence in the World Cup. But the one I do not understand is Miles Robinson. There's other people on this roster that can also play as a right center back, and I do not understand why Miles Robinson is here. The guy's not even been good in the MLS. This season with FC Cincinnati, he's been a disaster in both the MLS regular season and the Champions Cup. He was a disaster against Tigres when Tigres had that comeback against Cincinnati in the second leg. So the guy's just been a disaster. Also, these last couple of seasons have been pretty bad for Miles Robinson. I do not understand why is he here. There's other people on the roster that can play as a center back, so I do not understand the need for him to be playing as center back. But Mauricio Pochettino decides to throw away a spot and just basically gift a roster spot to Miles Robinson, to a player who has not even been playing good in the MLS. He's a disaster waiting to happen. Let's go with fullbacks. And fullbacks, well, you obviously have A-Rob and Sergio Dest. Anthony Robinson and Dest are our best fullbacks. A-Rob is a Premier League level left back, and Sergio Dest is a Champions League level right back. Also, he's also won another Eredivisie with PSV, so obviously he's doing something right in the Netherlands. So I think those two are our best fullbacks. With the other fullbacks, Joe Scally and Alex Freeman. Alex Freeman played pretty decent in the few starts he's had with Villarreal in La Liga. Joe Scally had a pretty good season with Gladbach in the Bundesliga. Both can play as a right center back, so I do not understand the need of bringing Miles Robinson if you have these two names who have looked far better as a right center back, especially Alex Freeman, when compared to Miles Robinson, because I do not remember the last time Miles Robinson had a decent game with the national team. I really do not. Even in those January camps, the guys look so bad. Like, oh my goodness, why is he even in the World Cup to begin with? And Max Arston, I'm not very confident in him. I have a lot of question marks about him, especially on the defensive side of the ball, and the offensive side of the ball against good teams is not enough to make up for it. The guy with Columbus has played more as a winger, so that tells you a lot about how Columbus sees him as a left back or wing back, because the guy is just that bad. He's that bad at defending. Let's go with the midfielders, and midfield has been hit hard. It has been hit hard, like a wrecking ball. Like, oh my goodness. Johnny Cardoso is obviously out. It was confirmed that after the Champions League semifinal that he sustained an injury and he had surgery, and well, he's obviously not going to be here. And Tanner Tessman, he was like out towards the end of the season with Lyon, and it appears like he's also out for the World Cup because he's not on the roster. And, well, now you're going to have to depend on Tyler Adams and Weston McKennie. Weston McKennie's probably going to be playing as a double pivot next to Tyler Adams with all these injuries. Weston McKennie gives me some confidence. He's had his best season with Juventus in the Serie A and looked pretty good in the Champions League too. And the guy is a versatile player, so I'm very confident in Weston McKennie. Tyler Adams, like, you better hope that this guy stays healthy and that this guy also does not get dumb yellow cards, because we're going to need him almost every single fucking game with the other midfielders that we decided to bring, because Tyler Adams, like, he's probably going to be our most important player right now. With the other names that the U.S. has as midfielders, like, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Roldan has only had one decent game with the national team, and that was against Australia. And even then, he had a couple of errors in that game. Sebastian Berhalter, against good opposition, the guy has not looked good at all. And at least Berhalter has looked decent in the MLS, or he's looked great in the MLS, to be honest. But Roldan, he's only been pretty good or decent. Like, you cannot even have the argument no more that the guys looked very good with the Sounders, because even then, like, the guys had a pretty big errors almost every single weekend with the Sounders. And Ali Mehmet, he just looks like a better midfielder when compared to Roldan, so that tells you a lot. But the decision I do not understand here at all is that you do not bring Yunus Musa or Aiden Moore to the World Cup, but you bring Roldan and Robinson. Musa, you know how he looks like in a World Cup. Like with Valencia, he was not even playing that good. So I do not understand the decision from Poch to not at least bring a player like Yunus Musa to the World Cup. Let's go with the attacking midfielders and wingers in this roster. Pulisic is obviously here. Pulisic is obviously not had his best season with Milan. He ended off to like this season horrendous. He was a disaster of both club and country. With Milan, the guy does not look confident at all. I know with all the personal events and the breakup with his girlfriend and all that, like it must affected him mentally. But he's just gotta leave that all behind this season, the March camp, the breakup, all behind and focus on this because we're probably gonna remember him as the face of the national team, mostly after this World Cup. And if he does a bad job in the World Cup, it's probably gonna haunt him forever. So he has to focus. He's gotta let that all go and just focus on giving a good performance at the World Cup. Gio Reyna, I understand why he's here. I know it divides a lot of opinion within the fan base, but he always delivers for country. He's always scored important goals. And with two opponents like Paraguay and Australia that are going to park the bus, they're going to be playing haram ball. You better bet that you need a player like Gio Reyna that can open up that defense because there's no player in the national team that has a vision like him to pick out a pass and just open up a defense. Tillman and Aronson had pretty decent campaigns in both the Premier League and the Bundesliga, respectively. Both can play as pivots, and I hope that at least Poch gives them minutes as pivots before even thinking of giving minutes to Roldan because, oh my goodness, like we are like one Tyler Adams injury or a Weston McKennie suspension away from seeing Roldan potentially having minutes at the World Cup. So Greg Berhalter, who was one of the biggest MLS fans of all time and one of the biggest Roldan fans of all time, he didn't even give minutes to Roldan in the World Cup. And that just tells you a lot about how he's perceived by at a global level. Like, oh my goodness. And the fact that he might see Roldan at a World Cup actually getting minutes, it just scares me. I just hope that Tillman or Aronson gets played as a pivot when something happens, so either McKennie or Tyler Adams, because, oh my goodness, we're going to need it. And the last two players, Timothy Wells, probably going to be playing as a wingback, to be honest. I don't think he's going to be playing as a winger at all. It seems like Poch likes him more as a wingback, and obviously I'd like to see him as the backup to A-Rod because A-Rod's going to need some help, especially after all these injuries and time off. And Sendejas, I understand his decision of being included in the World Cup roster because with Poch, I think Sendejas has looked pretty decent, to be fair. He obviously scored that amazing goal against Japan, but I think in the few minutes he's had, he's played pretty good with Poch. And I think Sendejas has shown way more than Luna this season. And in the Liguilla and Liga MX, he had a very good season with America, so I think he should be here ahead of players like Diego Luna. Luna has been outshone by his teammate Xavier Goso, who's still a U20 player, so that tells you a lot. I think that Sendejas being in here, I understand it. I think he could offer way more at a World Cup when compared to players like Diego Luna. I think Diego Luna could be good, but I think Diego Luna just has to wait his time. I think Sendejas' time is now. So I hope that Sendejas takes advantage of this opportunity because I was not expecting him in being in this World Cup roster, but I like it. I think he deserves it. Let's finish this video off with the strikers, and there's no controversy here. These are our three best strikers. Florian Balogun, Haji Wright, and Ricardo Pepi. All of them had very good seasons with their clubs respectively. Balo should obviously be the starter. He had a very good season with Monaco. He had a Liga and Champions League level, and that tells you a lot about how good he's doing right now. And obviously, he's scoring goals with the national team as of late. So, obviously, for me and for many fans, he should be the starter as the number 9 at the World Cup. And Haji Wright and Ricardo Pepi had pretty decent seasons. Haji Wright next season he's going to be playing in the Premier League. That's what it looks like with Coventry City. And Ricardo Pepi with PSV. had another good season in the Eredivisie and also played pretty good in the Champions League in a few games he did play. So I think these are our three best strikers by far, and they should obviously, all three of them should be here. Let's finish this video off with my last take and the ideal starting 11. Going with my last take, my last few takes with the team, I think that this is probably the best overall roster that the USMT has sent to a World Cup when considering the talent and the quality of the team. I think that it is better than the Qatar World Cup roster, in my opinion. There's more players coming in form, and I believe that there's probably more depth in this team when compared to the one that we sent to Qatar. But there's still some very questionable decisions. Miles Robinson and Roldan, I think they should not be nowhere near the national team at all. And the fact that we might get to see Roldan at a World Cup just scares me. I think Musa and Adam Morris could have, they can contribute way more at a World Cup when compared to Roldan and especially Miles Robinson. I do not understand why both of them are not in this roster. Musa and Adam Morris could contribute far more than those two. Musa, we all know how he looks like in a World Cup. He didn't even look good with Valencia before the Qatar World Cup, and he still looked pretty good at the World Cup. Adam Morris, at least the guy is a holding midfielder. I don't understand why you're bringing an extra center back when you have other players that could play that position. I don't understand it. But going with my ideal starting 11, I think it should be Matt Fries in goal. He's the one who gives the most confidence right now. Center backs, Chris Richards should obviously be in the middle with Alex Freeman and Austin Trusty on either side of him. Anthony Robinson and Sergio Dest as the two wing backs. The double pivot should be Weston McKennie and Tyler Adams. The two attacking mids should be Christian Pulisic and Gio Reyna. And the 9 should be Florian Balogun. So yeah, that's all I have to say. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.